seeing you, man. You good? Yeah. You too, and you too, man. Have a good weekend. See you on fight now, man. It's gonna be a good one. Let's do it.
I saw what he did to Rob Whittaker with a face crank. How's the strength in your jaw and teeth?
If he grabs my jaw like that, he will break his forearm.
Should DDP be worried about his jaw and his teeth?
It's up to him. I don't know. We'll see.
You've been doing the exercises, been chewing on some gum.
No, I'm just built different.
You did say if you could take Rob down so easily, what do you think you're going to do to DDP?
What do you think, guys? Rob took him down, so very salam alaikum.
Very salam alaikum. What do you think he means by that?
I have no idea what that means, but he took me down, I got back up, so you are probably going to be able to take me down. I'm probably going to be able to take you down. I know we have a fight, and I'm ready for this fight. I have been ready, and man, I wish there was a way for people to see how this fight camp went, to see what we went through, how successful we were, how flawless this camp went.
The excitement is reaching new heights as UFC 319 draws closer, with both Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis focused on claiming dominance in the middleweight division. The two fighters were also spotted interacting ahead of their highly anticipated showdown. Dricus du Plessis talked about that recent run-in with Khamzat Chimaev, saying the exchange was respectful, with both fighters wishing each other well ahead of their bout. He explained that hostility wasn't necessary outside the cage, but once the fight began, his mindset would be to finish Chimaev.
A few moments ago, you and Khamzat Chimaev, you guys ran into each other. He came up to you. What'd you make of that? What'd you see when you looked in his eyes?
Yeah, I saw him. I mean, there was nothing but respect. I mean, he said to me that he's happy that I'm healthy and ready to go. And I said to him, right back at you. I mean, you know, it doesn't always have to be that hostile, but when the cage door closes, I'm in there to kill him.
Du Plessis also claimed that his major focus is on cementing his legacy as the greatest middleweight of all time. Confident in his skills, he believed that even if Chimaev managed to take him down, he would not be able to keep him there.
What do you think's more satisfying, being known as the greatest middleweight of all time or becoming the first man to have 3 belts in the UFC?
I think that's not even comparable. I think you focus on Saturday night before you think about any of that.
And that's where your mindset is, Saturday night. You want to build a legacy as being the greatest middleweight of all time.
Absolutely, 100%.
If Khamzat does take you down, why won't he be able to keep you down?
Because I'm better than him at every single aspect. I'm both different. I'm the champion for a reason.
On the other hand, Khamzat Chimaev is also very confident about his skills and believes he will easily take down Dricus at UFC 319. He is eager to win his maiden UFC belt and will try his best to achieve his goals.
Do you think you're going to be able to take him down with ease?
Of course. I take down the people who I want to take him down, so that's it.
Khamzat Chimaev further talked about this matchup and rejected the notion that Dricus du Plessis' style was unusual, saying it was just part of the sport. While he credited du Plessis for being effective in what he does, Chimaev made it clear he believed his own skills were on another level.
What do you think about Dricus, right? Because sometimes you look at his fights and he fights in a very weird way, a strange style. When you look at him, do you think, man, this guy's very good, or this guy's just very strange?
Oh, everyone says it's weird style, weird. That's MMA style, you know. So I don't think it's some crazy weird, but he does his job, he does good, and he's a good fighter. I'm better.
However, Dricus du Plessis described his chances against Khamzat Chimaev as unpredictable, saying even he didn't know exactly how he would win. He playfully imagined bizarre scenarios, from accidents in the cage to completely random outcomes, before making it clear that no matter how it happened, he saw himself walking away with the victory.
Dricus, be honest with me. How do you beat Khamzat Chimaev?
Man, I've got plot armor.
You've got plot armor?
Bro, how do you prepare for me? I don't even know what I'm going to do.
You don't know what you're going to do in the octagon.
It could have been DDP by accident, DDP by falling piano. Maybe I draw a hole in the middle of the octagon, he falls through it.
A hole in the middle?
Absolutely. Maybe I blow up my thumb, hit him with it. I can win by a car crash. I'm a large hammer. That will be there. That would be in the corner. Another DDP might just come into the octagon.
Yeah, that could happen.
Everybody says on paper, Khamzat beats me. How do I know? I can't even read.
You can't read?
Nah. But at the end of the day, my friend, it's DDP by whatever works.
Khamzat Chimaev also questioned the strength of Dricus du Plessis' takedown defense, pointing out that opponents with far less wrestling pedigree had managed to put him on the ground. Confident in his own grappling, he suggested that taking du Plessis down would be even easier for someone with his level of wrestling.
You want to give him credit. You don't want to think that, you know, it's going to be easy, but when you really look at this guy, do you think he's going to be able to stop your takedown, or what do you think you're going to find out when you get in there with him immediately, from just based on what you've seen on film?
Like I told before, and the guys after my fight with Robert, and they said, like I said to the guys, watch guys, the other UFC fighters was usually strikes, they takes him down. I'm a wrestler in MMA, like one of the best wrestlers in MMA. How it's not possible to take this guy down? If Robert took him down and Tyron Till scramble and take over, and he took him down as well. But you know, the guys know at which level I am in wrestling and in MMA.
Meanwhile, Dricus du Plessis admitted that Khamzat Chimaev would be his most dangerous challenge yet, but said he was used to people doubting him. He explained that every defense came with high stakes, and this one was no exception. Trusting in the improvements he's made, he promised to demonstrate why the belt should stay with him.
You're an underdog heading into this fight. Is this going to be the toughest fight for you yet?
Well, I mean, yet to lose means that I have to lose some time, and I don't need that. I have 2 losses in my career. I know how it feels, and I'm completely fine if I never feel it again. But yeah, I'm the underdog. I've been the underdog most of my career, but yet I am the champion. So, you know, odds don't make fights. And for me, I 100% believe this is the best opponent that I've faced to date, but so was the previous one. You know, every time that you step in there, you are going to face the next most dangerous guy, especially as a champion. So for me, yes, this is the best fighter that the best opponent I've ever come up against. But once again, I will show my improvements and why I am the champion.
Dricus du Plessis said his ground game often goes unnoticed simply because he hasn't needed to rely on it often. He pointed to his fight with Robert Whittaker, where after being taken down, he quickly reversed the situation and took control, using strikes and submission setups to show he could dominate in every area of MMA.
Do you think people are underestimating your grappling?
Absolutely. I think, I just don't think people have seen a lot of it, so it changes the game. I think if, you know, Khamzat mentioned it, he said, Robert Whittaker took me down. He did. He got a good time takedown. I got up very easily. You know, when Rob took me down, I got up with no problems, took him down, and I dominated him on the floor in a way where I was landing, I cut him, I was landing massive elbows. The threat of the choke was there the whole time, and the round ended. And I'm sure if that round didn't end at that stage, it would have been the end of the fight right there. But yeah, I mean, I guess people haven't seen too much of my grappling and wrestling that much, but at the end of the day, I'm a complete MMA fighter, and that's why I'm the best in the world.
On the other hand, Chael Sonnen said that if Dricus du Plessis defeated Khamzat Chimaev in dominant fashion, it could push him into the sport's elite pound-for-pound tier. In Sonnen's view, such a win would put du Plessis in the same conversation as Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria.
And if Dricus can go out and look good and get the win over Chimaev, I just think that ranking, he all of a sudden is going to be flirting with Islam's space and Ilya's space. He's going to be flirting with the top 3. And I think that's the only way that we know how to compliment him in our industry. We give him a belt, we give him a main event, and then we give him a little bit more. And that top 3 placing pound for pound is very within reach right now for Dricus.
Michael Bisping also talked about this matchup and highlighted Khamzat Chimaev's rare combination of speed and power in wrestling, saying he could launch takedown attempts from far out and still succeed. He explained that once Chimaev closed the distance and made contact, stopping him was a near impossible task.
Khamzat Chimaev is just ridiculous, right? The wrestling on this guy is phenomenal. The way that he shoots a double leg and closes and covers so much distance, it's wild. He shoots from so far out that it shouldn't work, but he's so explosive and so powerful, he makes it work. He closes the distance, and all he needs to do is get a hold of you. So I assume that Khamzat is also ridiculously strong as well, because he's fast, powerful, he's explosive, he's got good wrestling, and if he gets his hands on you, you're going down.
Michael Bisping called Dricus du Plessis a physically imposing fighter with solid takedown defense. He felt the key to challenging Khamzat Chimaev was not to retreat, but to pressure him early. While he expected Chimaev to eventually land a takedown, Bisping said forcing him to constantly defend and move backward could shift the momentum.
Now, Dricus is a big dude. He's not going to be easy to take down. Dricus is going to play him at his own game, and that's exactly what he's got to do. You can't run away from Khamzat Khamzat Chimaev, okay? The man's gonna get you. He's gonna get a hold of you, and he's gonna try and take you down, and he's probably gonna be successful. So what do? Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna meet him head on, you're gonna fight him at his own game, and that's exactly what Dricus du Plessis said that he's gonna do. He will get a hold of you, and he probably will take you down. So meet him head on, make him work for it. The best form of defense is attack. Put Khamzat Chimaev on the back foot.
Michael Bisping noted that Khamzat Chimaev's aggressive style came from his belief that he could finish opponents in the opening moments, whether by submission or knockout. While he saw Chimaev as a rare talent, he acknowledged that pacing had been a question mark before. However, with a new strength and conditioning coach, Bisping said Chimaev was working harder than ever to address that area.
Khamzat Chimaev has got tired in the past, but he still chooses to fight the same way. That's because he believes in his ability. He believes that all he needs is a minute or 2 minutes, or certainly at tops, 1 round with a guy, and he will put them down and he will finish them. And if he doesn't submit them, then he will knock them out. This is the self-belief that Khamzat Chimaev has. He is a very special fighter. However, the cardio could be an issue. We've spoken about that at length. He's got a new strength and conditioning coach. He's pushing himself to the limit.
Moreover, Anthony Hernandez said Dricus du Plessis was a rare kind of challenge for Khamzat Chimaev, with the size, toughness, and stamina to push him in ways other opponents hadn't. He pointed out that most of Chimaev's past competition had moved up from lighter divisions, while du Plessis was a true middleweight. Curious to see how the fight would play out, Hernandez added that over 5 rounds he believed he could finish any opponent, and made it clear he was ready to face elite contenders on his own path to the title.
Middleweight title on the line between Dricus and Khamzat. How do you see it playing out?
I think Dricus is going to get him, dude. He's a tough son of a bitch, you know what I mean? And he doesn't gas out. And then, like I've said with Khamzat, I've never seen him like fight like a legit 185. I mean, Whitaker, yeah. But like besides that, everyone else is like 155ers coming up and so I really want to see him with an actual test, you know what I mean?
If that test was you and you fought Khamzat Chimaev, how would that play out?
I think he gasses. You give me 5 rounds with him, I'll finish anybody. You know what I mean? I don't give a f. I'm here to fight whoever. I want the belt, so I'm gonna fight all these sooner or later. Run it. Like, as simple as that.
Caio Baralho said Dricus du Plessis had a habit of proving his predictions wrong, but he still saw Khamzat Chimaev as a different kind of threat. He explained that Chimaev blended wrestling and jiu-jitsu into a style entirely his own, which could catch opponents off guard if they trained only for standard wrestling. Baralho questioned whether du Plessis would be fully prepared for that unique approach.
Actually, right now, it's hard to bet against DDP because he always shut my mouth, you know? I always bet against him and he always shut my mouth. So it's hard to bet against him, but it's hard to bet against Khamzat. It's just gonna be how prepared to the Khamzat style. That is not a wrestling style, it's a different thing. That's the mistake that people do a lot. They prepare to fight against a wrestler, and Khamzat is not, it's not pure wrestling. He has a system. He does something different. He puts jiu-jitsu on the wrestling, so he needs to be well prepared, not against a wrestler, but against this Khamzat style. And I don't know if he's gonna be ready for that.
Caio Baralho feels the matchup has the potential to be decided in the opening moments, similar to how Dricus du Plessis stopped Robert Whitaker. However, he also believes that if the fight dragged on, the momentum could shift in du Plessis' favor.
I feel that this fight can be as fast as the Whitaker fight, like really.
Oh, wow.
I think this fight can be really, really fast. But I can see this fight going to the second, the third round, and then I see some advantage for Dricus, you know what I mean?
Meanwhile, Tito Ortiz said the matchup would reveal just how dangerous Khamzat Chimaev really was. While he viewed Chimaev as a monster in the cage, he warned that Dricus du Plessis had the potential to shock him, especially if the wrestling exchanges didn't go Chimaev's way. Ortiz compared it to his letdown watching Bo Nickal struggle recently, and pointed out that Russian fighters often excel by mixing strikes with wrestling to create openings for takedowns and finishes.
How do you predict that fight plays out?
People gonna see how vicious Chimaev truly is. I respect the guy. He's a monster. Du Plessis, the champ, I think he's in him for a rude awakening because he's gonna realize that his wrestling is not as good as Chimaev's truly is. And it was heartbreaking for me in that middleweight division because when Bo Nickal got picked apart his last fight, I was like, man, why didn't you wrestle? You're one of the best guys in the world in wrestling. Use your wrestling. And that's what all the Russians do. They use their wrestling to set up punches. They use their punches to set up the wrestling, and then they take people down and they choke them because they're really good at it.
Tito Ortiz also expected the fight to end inside the distance, predicting Khamzat Chimaev would wear Dricus du Plessis down within 3 or 4 rounds through constant pressure. Having followed Chimaev's rise closely, he is impressed by his grit and athleticism. Ortiz added that Rampage Jackson, who trained with Chimaev in California, vouched for his skills, and he was particularly amazed by Chimaev's ability to explode into takedowns from far across the cage.
I think Chimaev, I would give it maybe 4 rounds, 3 to 4 rounds. I think Chimaev just overwhelms him too much. I think that's my opinion. Once again, I watch him. I watch Chimaev. I just see how tough he is, and I know he had training camp actually at Jackson Clothing Company or Jackson in
California.
California, correct? And was it
With Bear and Rampage is also there.
Yep. And so I know he's doing really well. I talked to Rampage. Rampage goes, no, he's the real deal, Tito. I go, I see him. I watch his fights and how vicious. I mean, he can shoot a double leg from half the cage and still take a guy down. He's just very vicious.
Furthermore, Luke Rockhold shared his thoughts and said Khamzat Chimaev brings danger with his wrestling, constant pressure, and ground skills, but questioned whether he could sustain that pace for an entire fight. He pointed to Chimaev's performances against Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns as signs of potential slowdown. Having trained extensively with Dricus du Plessis, Rockhold noted that du Plessis maintains his energy, withstands adversity, and knows how to survive difficult situations.
Somebody who's seen a lot of mixed martial arts. You do the Jackson podcast, Santos Studios. Right now, Khamzat Chimaev, the Wolf. He is there training. You've grappled with him. He's got a big fight against DDP, Dricus du Plessis, someone you've had a lot of rounds with. After feeling both those men, how does that fight play out?
We'll see how it plays out. I think Khamzat is very good at wrestling. He's very good on the ground. He's very good at pressure. The longevity of the fight hasn't been his best approach. So you see with Usman, you see with Gilbert. Tough test. I've put a lot of rounds in with DDP, and he don't go away. So unless he gets to him early, it's gonna be tough late.
So if he doesn't put him away early, it's a DDP type of fight.
I think that's the way the DDP goes. He manages to get through, weathers the storms, and he keeps going. That's what champions do, and that's why DDP's on top.
However, Din Thomas compared Khamzat Chimaev's style to that of a fast starter who excels early but hasn't proven himself over a full 5-round fight. He believed Dricus du Plessis had the toughness and fight IQ to weather that initial storm and gradually take control as the rounds progressed.
You think Dricus beats Khamzat?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do. I really do. I think Khamzat is a sprinter. I think if you were to make fights 1 5-minute round, Khamzat beats anybody in the world, any weight class. But you can't fight championship level fights for 5 rounds at the pace where he's at his best. If he fights like that at his best, I think Dricus is so durable and he's so smart that he'll be able to withstand that. Now they're swimming in deep water, and Khamzat can't swim that deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Din Thomas predicted that if the fight reached the championship rounds, it would play into Dricus du Plessis' hands. He said Chimaev could struggle once he realized du Plessis wasn't going anywhere, as du Plessis would keep applying pressure no matter the pace. Thomas added that du Plessis' ability to manage his energy came from his well-rounded skill set, which allowed him to stay effective deep into a fight.
So what do you think? It just goes into the championship rounds and he figures them out?
Yeah. I think that by the 3rd round, Khamzat's like, all right, I don't really know. I can't, this guy's not going away. Wow. And also too, is if Khamzat does, let's say he does pace himself a little better, Dricus will just pour it on him.
Right.
So I think that pacing is a big factor. We always talk about this cardio thing, but cardio is really just being able to manage whatever pace you have based on the skill set you have. That's really what it comes down to. Like if you have a very limited skill set, and you're forced to be in situations that you're not comfortable in, you're going to have bad cardio. But when you have a very well-rounded skill set and you can pace yourself better, you're gonna have good cardio. So I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Paul Felder also said the bout with Khamzat Chimaev would be the most difficult fight of Dricus du Plessis' career. He pointed to Chimaev's non-stop pace and fast starts as major factors that could overwhelm opponents, even those with high-level wins like du Plessis. In Felder's view, that kind of intensity made this matchup du Plessis' ultimate proving ground.
Do you think this is the toughest test of Dricus du Plessis' career?
Yeah, I think so. I think just that first round type of crazy onslaught that he brings to the table and the pressure that he brings early in a fight is very, very difficult, where it might not be the highest caliber as far as pedigree and what we've seen from a fighter so far. I mean, you got Whitakers and people like that he's been able to beat and get through. But I absolutely think that this is going to be his biggest test.
Paul Felder predicted that the opening round would be chaotic for Dricus du Plessis, with Khamzat Chimaev charging forward to gain control and look for an early finish. He acknowledged that du Plessis' style might appear wild at times, but said his history of proving doubters wrong couldn't be ignored. Despite recognizing the danger Chimaev brings, Felder leaned toward du Plessis, finding a way to win.
And you know that first 5 minutes is absolute chaos with somebody like Khamzat. He's going to be on him. He's going to try to take him down. He's going to try to take his back, and he throws big punches. And Dricus being a little bit wild and a little bit clumsy in there sometimes. I think this is his biggest test. But, dude, I'm done ever counting Dricus du Plessis out of a fight. He has proven all of us wrong over and over again in these fights where we think he's going to, okay, this guy's going to kick his. So if I had to pick, I'm leaning du Plessis.
Meanwhile, Ikram Aliskerov expects the fight to be competitive, but ultimately leaned toward Khamzat Chimaev. He credited Chimaev's well-rounded game, with dangerous striking and grappling as the key advantage, while acknowledging du Plessis' toughness, awkward style, and ability to disrupt opponents' timing. Aliskerov believed Chimaev's adaptability during a fight would be the difference maker.
It seems like the next title fight might be du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. If that happens, who do you think wins?
My opinion, Chimaev, I think, is good, very good. You see this last fight was Whitaker, and not last, all his fight, he have everything. He have good wrestling, grappling, and striking. I think, but he's a not simple guy, du Plessis. You know, all the fight, all people think about this fight he lose, this fight but he not lose. He's win anybody, brother. It's a good fight. But I think, I hope Chimaev win.
Bo Nickel also acknowledged Khamzat Chimaev's dominance, but questioned how he would handle the later rounds, noting that Dricus du Plessis had already proven he could manage them. He believed du Plessis could gain the upper hand if the fight reached the 4th or 5th round. Still, Nickel leaned toward Chimaev, pointing to his grappling and wrestling advantage as the potential deciding factor.
We still have yet to see Khamzat ever fight a 4th and a 5th round. We've seen that from DDP, and so that's where he would have the advantage. You know, if it goes deep, 4th and 5th round, I think that DDP might be able to pull it out. But you know, all in all, I think the grappling style is definitely an overwhelming style to try to deal with.
Brendan Schaub called the fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis a massive showdown, crediting du Plessis' size and toughness as key factors. While he wouldn't be shocked if Chimaev ended it early, he was more curious about how Chimaev would handle a long, drawn-out battle. Schaub noted that both fighters posed challenges neither had experienced before, making the matchup especially compelling.
Khamzat's big, right? Khamzat's big. DDP's my size. I don't know if you know.
Nowhere.
You seen the picture of him and Bisping? Bisping's a big dude. DDP dwarfs big. DDP is walks around about 240. The first round, of course, if Khamzat wins, and if it ends before 2 rounds, it's Khamzat all day. I would extend that after seeing this to even the first 3 rounds. 4 and 5 is what I want to see. I want to see Khamzat in the 4th and 5th. And if Khamzat's lighting his ass up, because DDP is going to be tough to finish. So if Khamzat's in the 4th and 5th, finish him, then you got one. So for Khamzat, it's going to be dealing with that mass.
Who has DDP fought that's even close to that style, that explosive, shoot from 10 feet out, grab you, not let go till he gets what he wants?
That's why it's a great fight. Because DDP hasn't fought anybody like Khamzat, and Khamzat hasn't fought anybody like DDP.
That wraps up the video, with anticipation building for the clash between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis. Fans are eager to see how the showdown will unfold, and viewers are encouraged to share their predictions in the comments and subscribe for more content.